Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Someday I'll Have a Podcast. This show is basically like a stream of consciousness, very lightly edited podcast by me, your host, Ren. There are plenty of sirens outside my window. I wonder if you could hear that. The good old city of Chicago. But this show is just based on my experience as a human being, and I feel like I have a lot that I'd like to share with my fellow human beings, with all of you. I believe that anyone who clicked on this episode, you're meant to hear something, learn something, gain a new way of thought from hearing this. I believe it's all part of the master plan. So thank you for being here. Thank you for clicking and sticking around. By the time you're hearing this, I'll have turned 26 years old. But by the time I'm recording this, I turned 26 in a couple days. I want to just sit here and recount some of the lessons that I've learned out my 26 years. And I think it's funny because people younger than me listening to this will probably be like, wow, I could really learn something. And people older than me listening to this may likely be like, she's only 26. What is she talking about? You know, these lessons are trivial. But by the age of 26, I feel like I've learned a lot in life. And I just continue to learn. And that's what's exciting about living. And I feel like these lessons that I've taken with me can be valuable to someone. And so here I am chatting about them into a microphone. There's a lot of different ways that I could go with this. But I definitely want to start with the idea that no one really cares. No one really gives a shit what you're doing, what you're dressing like, what you're looking like, what you're into. Every singular person is so caught up in worrying about themselves and what they look like and how they're perceived and all these other things that no one actually really is paying attention to what you're doing, and no one really cares. And not in the sense of like, oh, no one cares like what you have to say, but in the sense of like, don't get so caught up and overwhelmed in your appearance and this, that, and the other, because at the end of the day, we are our own worst critics, and really no one is paying attention. Like, I think about this a lot when I go to the gym, and I'm like, I get nervous because when I go to the gym, I go into like that empty like studio. I call it the dance studio because that's what I do in it. And I'm either like hula hooping or shuffling or just expressing myself through dance. And I'm like, I always get in my head being like, oh my gosh, all these people out there are like lifting weights and are probably looking in and being like, what is she doing? But literally no one gives a fuck. And I'm there to move my body. And if someone is really caught up in, watching what I'm doing and having a judgment on what I'm doing and looking like, and it's really a reflection of themselves. Every singular person is at that gym to have their own workout. Why am I walking in there thinking that this whole world revolves around me? Why am I thinking that people are taking time out of their day to be so worried about what I'm doing, when really it's just a reflection of me worrying about myself? Does that make sense? I'm in there worrying about how others are perceiving me, my actions, and really no one cares. And I have to remind myself about that, especially the younger generation and the people who are raised with social media. All of us, I suppose, we are so caught up on the little details and like what people think of us based on like how we're portraying ourselves to the world around us, when in reality, no one is seeing what we're seeing about ourselves anyway. So we should always post, do, wear, whatever we want to. The list goes on. And on the other end of that, conversations, man. And it's funny what we take with us. But while I say that the world does not revolve around me, because it doesn't, at the same time, my world revolves around me. So I need to be making decisions based on my internal world, how I'm feeling. I don't owe anything to anyone. I recently was leaving a job and I kept getting caught up in, well, I feel bad for the team because I know that they're going to be struggling when I'm gone because they're going to have one less body. But at the end of the day, first of all, that is not my responsibility to fill that role. Okay, I need to do what is best for me. If my mental health is struggling because of feeling stress about a job, I need to prioritize me. And at the end of the day, my little world does revolve around me because I am the only person that has to live within my own mind. I'm the only person that has to live with myself. And I've gone into detail more about that in other podcasts in the past. And I just feel like it's so funny that I feel like, maybe it is just me, but I feel like I'm not the only one that's getting so caught up in other people's things, when at the end of the day, I have to consider my little world, my little headspace, my decisions, my timelines, my whatever, because my little world does revolve around me. So making decisions based on my own needs, not based on the needs of others all the time. And of course, you have to strike a balance between selflessness and selfishness for sure. But I think it's okay to be selfish sometimes. It's okay. This came up the other day because at work, I'm a bartender, and I was getting shifts covered for a little trip that I'm taking because I want to go out of town. And it sort of was brought to my attention, like, and it's cute because if I wasn't where I was at today with my mindset and understanding myself and understanding these lessons that I've learned over my 26 years, I may have taken this so differently. But it was, brought to my attention that, like, sometimes other people need shifts covered too. So like, it's not all about you. Yes, that is exactly true. But at the end of the day, if someone else wanted to take a trip, they could also ask me to cover their shifts when they're going out of town. Do you know what I mean? So it works all the ways around. If someone else finally can recognize, I need to be selfish for myself, I'm going to go out of town, I'm going to ask someone to cover my shifts, then more power to them, and congratulations. And I hope everybody has these realizations. I hope everyone gets to the point of having these realizations that to some extent we do need to be selfish, and you don't owe anything to anyone. So I don't even owe an explanation of why I need the shift covered to anyone. And I love that I've gotten to this point in my life. So just in that little like 3-minute rant I just went on there was a few different lessons. Let's circle back and try and summarize them. One, the world does not revolve around you, but your little world does. So keep that in mind when you're making decisions, both ways. Don't get too upset about what other people might think of you. And also, don't get too overwhelmed with this pressure of what you might owe to somebody else, because really, you don't owe them anything. And also, being selfish is not always a bad thing. Another lesson I've learned is that there are so many different types of people in this world. I used to think that like people were one way based on, I guess, how I was perceiving the world or how I perceive myself. But there are so many different types of people in this world, and there's like little niches for every singular type of person. So at the end of the day, don't ever feel shameful or minimize yourself because you don't think other people are into what you're into. I used to think, this is funny looking back, I used to think that like raving, like going to raves and festivals was such like a small niche of like people. First of all, in order for it to be a small niche of people, these major worldwide large scale festivals would not be happening, because literally 400,000 people go to this one festival in Vegas. That's one festival. All of that to say, never be ashamed for what you're into and what you like, because there's something in this world for everybody. There's like, I am always like, how do that many people like watching golf or baseball? And I'm like, holy shit, like this world is huge. And there are so many different types of people who are either casually or like super into things like that. And then I think about all the things that I'm not even exposed to yet that like a huge amount of people in this world love. And I would give you an example, but I just said I'm not even exposed to it yet. So like, I used to think not that many people read books anymore, but then I'm like, how do Barnes and Noble and these marginal is not the word I'm looking for, and these ginormous corporations and publishers and authors make money and stay in business if not that many people are reading books? I always thought, well, I'm reading books here and there, but like there's a huge like subgroup of people that like books are their thing. So like these are just little examples of like, I guess I didn't realize how big the world is, and I keep getting reminded of that every single day. And that's a lesson to take with me too. Like, don't put yourself or put people around you in a box, because it's endless. And there is so many endless things to, be involved in and interested by and intrigued with, and like all these other things. Other side of the same coin, the world is so small. Everything is connected. Every little thing. It actually blows my mind sometimes when I see things happen, or little synchronicities throughout the world, or people that I meet that have a connection to somebody else. And I'm like, this world is so big. It's so small. Like literally, they say 6 degrees of separation from anyone. And I am like, I'm convinced it's 4, because the people that I run into and the stories that I hear and the people that I meet, and it just blows my mind how connected everything and everyone is in such an insane way. So like keep that in mind too when you're going throughout your day. Like the world is so massive and so big, yet it's all magically, cosmically connected. And don't forget that. And that's also not to diminish your impact on the world. People who think that they're just energies and their opinions and things don't matter to anyone, like I just can't understand that, because the way that this world is so small, yet everything is so intrinsically made beautifully to fit into every other little thing, like it blows my mind. And how could you ever make yourself so small? But at the same time, everything's so small and so big. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see the cyclical pattern? These are lessons. These are lessons that we need to deeply understand and take with us, because this is how we start to understand the human experience. And taking these little lessons, these little daily things, and connecting them back to like the bigger picture. That's another lesson I've learned throughout my 26 years, is being able to do that and recognize it and point it in with the bigger picture. And like circling back to that, into the idea of like all different types of people, yet all the same. I used to think that my family was like the most dysfunctional family. And looking back, first of all, we're not that dysfunctional, but at the same time, getting to know other families and seeing the inner workings of just people, literally every family is dysfunctional, because where there are humans, there is chaos and conflict. And therefore, every little inner working of all these connections of all these people, like there is going to be dysfunction. And why was I ever trying to apologize for like, my family's a little crazy, haha. Like literally take a look at your own family and like, here's your moment of reflection for this podcast episode. Just think about your immediate family, and then think about your third cousin and the uncle you haven't talked to in a while, and like why that other friend doesn't show up to family parties anymore. Like it's all freaking dysfunction, baby. It's chaos theory, okay? That's how the earth has come to be. And I used to think I was the only one, and I used to get apologetic about my family's dysfunctional, and so just warning you, haha. But that's just life. And I'm so grateful that I've gotten to the point where I'm like, why should I apologize for any way that humans are connecting? And why am I even involving myself in that? You know what I mean? It's almost like sometimes I get secondhand embarrassment, but like, why am I involving myself in that? It's just natural humanity. You know, we're all people. And I think to circle back again to some of those original things that I was chatting about at the beginning, like that nobody cares. My biggest lesson is like, you have to live your life so unapologetically. And it's the shit we hear all the time and like stupid posts on social media. But honestly, like this is why I'm talking to you in this medium and on this level, because I am trying to reach it to a different level. I am trying to share the knowledge on the deeper level, because it's the little things that we see, but we don't really internalize. It's like we have to just live. We have to do the things we want to do. Same way that this podcast was born. We have to suck it up and just do it, instead of waiting for fear to drive us away over and over and over again. We have to take action and action forward. That's what my friends have been saying to me. That's their little thing that they're about to be showing to the world, is their little message is action forward. We have to do that. We have to be that. We have to take our ideas and move with them, and not be afraid of judgment or failure or discouragement or denial or rejection. Like we have to just freaking do it. Okay. And I have to remind myself of this every single day when I wake up and I have all these ideas, and then throughout the day I get discouraged. Like, no, wake up. This is your life. You have to take control of it. You have to decide what you want it to look like. And it doesn't fucking matter what it looks like to anyone on the outside. Okay. I even find myself doing this, making judgments about people's decisions, because it's not the decisions that I would make for my own life. And that's too damn bad, because guess what? Who am I to say how anyone's going to live their life? If you want to, settle down and buy your house by 26 years old, my age, honestly, good for you. And I'm so glad that works out for you. Everyone is different. There are so many different types of people in this world. See how I'm circling back to that other message, that other lesson that I've learned? that not what works for one person will not work for you necessarily. We are all different people made of different ideas and things that drive us and what we want our life to look like. And for it to work for one person and not another, that is absolutely beautiful. And one of my best friends has a life trajectory right now and is doing things in her life that I could not be dreaming of doing right now. But that doesn't mean she's not my best friend and I'm not going to support her throughout every little thing. We are just different people. You see what I'm saying? Like, not everyone's path is going to work for you. And like, there is beauty in that. It is okay. Don't get caught up in what other people are doing and other people's perceptions of you and vice versa. You know, it works both ways. It's all complex because guess what? Well, once again, we are complex people. And to be able to sit down and remove yourself and understand that and go inward to yourself and understand that, recognize that not every day is going to be the same. Not every day is going to be a win. Your healing is not linear. All these little messages about yourself, like, we are complex people and we have to be gentle with ourselves for that. And I wish that I could tie these lessons up into a pretty little bow and say, the 10 things I've learned by 26. And it's like, it just doesn't work that way. And for some people it does, see? But the way that my thought process works and the way that I internalize things and understand things and really learn things and take lessons out of the life, the world around me, it just isn't always wrapped up in a pretty little bow. And it's a chaotic mess of, rambling into a microphone, which is how you ended up here. And again, there's something beautiful in that. At least for me, I find it beautiful. We probably will find different things beautiful, but I hope that these lessons, you're able to take them with you. I hope you're able to grasp something out of this. And I hope that whether you're 55 or 15, that you're able to listen to this and gain something out of it, some sort of knowledge. Because we're all learning all the time. And that's another lesson, is to be open to lessons from anybody. If you are so closed off in yourself to not even give someone's idea the time of day, again, it's a reflection on yourself. And if that will never help you to reach this next milestone in your life, this next level of consciousness, whatever it is that you're searching for, that you're reaching for, that you're looking for. Being closed off to people and ideas because of their age or their social identity, their gender, their race, that they look different than you, to be so closed-minded that you're not open to learning from somebody based on these things, well, damn, I'm sorry that you aren't going to reach what you're searching for. You're never going to fulfill that longing in your heart because you're not open to trying new things, listening to someone new, going a new place, to really learning. And I am so grateful that I've had these experiences in my life by this young age of 26, almost 26. I am so grateful because it puts me on a path to continue learning and growing. And I am so freaking excited to see what the rest of my life looks like. This shit is exciting. This is so exciting. I am like I am in tears thinking about, just full of gratitude for what my life has been so far. And I owe it to the fact that I've been open to learning these lessons. And so maybe if you clicked on this podcast, maybe that's the lesson that you need to hear, is to just take a breath and be open. Allow yourself to take in a new idea, or even just like open your mind a little, because you don't know what could come of it. And it could be the best thing in your life that you've ever done. I'm grateful that I've been set on this trajectory to continue to learn, whether it's academically or spiritually or consciously or whatever it looks like. I'm open to that, and it makes me open to new experiences. So I'll try and wrap it up into a nice little list of lessons that I've learned by 26. So here we go. The big world does not revolve around you, yet your own small world does. And therefore, it's okay to be selfish sometimes. There are so many types of people in this world and so many things to expose yourself to. So don't be closed off. Be open to learning, and be open to lessons showing themselves everywhere for you. Be fearless in your approach to life, in your approach to your goals and your dreams. Give yourself credit for what you're worth and what you're capable of. And don't minimize that for anyone or anything. Move fearlessly into your ambitions. The world has a lot to offer and a lot to teach you if you are just willing and open. Open your mind, open your heart, and things will start happening to and for you. The universe is conspiring for you, always, always. You're never too young or too old to try something new or to change the world. And maybe I'll start keeping track of the lessons I learn in the next year so I can give you a similar podcast of what the world teaches me in year 26. Again, I thank you all for being here. I truly believe that if you clicked on this episode, you were brought here for a reason. And so I hope that you got something out of it. If you need to listen to it again, do that. If you want to start a conversation, my DMs are always open on Instagram. My links are in the show notes. You can find me at Elle Crew or Living Large with Elle Crew on Instagram. Let's talk. Let's connect. Let's grow together. Let's learn from each other. That's all that this is meant to be. And with that, rounding out my 25th year, going into 26, I'm here to share some wonderful music. I love sharing music. I think music is at the base of everything. Think about how your heart beats. It's in the rhythm of music. It's all connected. It's all connected. I'm going to share with you a song that has been on repeat for me in my Spotify playlist that Spotify makes for me. It's the playlist called On Repeat based on music I've been listening to over and over again. You can find yours too if you use the Spotify app. This is not an ad. I just support Spotify. It's also where you could find my podcast. Long story short, lately I've been listening to Motown by Grayscale. Honestly, I feel like I've already promoted this song before, but it's so good. It has a fun energy. It's kind of sexy, kind of fun, a little bit pop punk. Bring the summer energy. It's summertime. We're ready to go. Listen to this song. It'll be linked in the show notes. As always, I'll just say goodbye. Happy birthday to me. I'll catch you next time.